I'm muted, aren't I? Hi, everybody. I am a pro streamer, you can tell, because I was completely muted. Nice. Welcome to the Robot Rampage League. It is week number 5. I knew something like that was going to happen one of these days. How's everybody doing in the chat? See a lot of accounts that I don't recognize from previous streams. Welcome everybody, welcome. We are going to get right into some more Robot Rampage League action. So after 4 weeks or so, you could kind of argue that how the teams are doing and how the robots are doing is a statistical anomaly. You know, there's not enough data to work with. But after this week, week 5, it's going to be pretty conclusive how robots are performing, whether it be good or bad, and you'll be able to see how the season is shaping up after this week. So this is a really important week. This is what's going to kind of conclusively decide who goes where. Justin Cisneros, hello. Felix Plays, Augustin, Organis, Zines, hello everybody. We are going to get into some Robot Rampage in just a second. I finally figured out how to make my spreadsheets work correctly, and I have an official top 5 rankings for all of the robots now, and I have those in my notes. I'll bring them up as they compete. So we have that. I know American Killjoy has just posted the power rankings in the Discord server if you want to check out the power rankings for this week. So let's go ahead and get the week started. Let's get the game going. Oh no, actually we have to talk about last week because there were judges' decisions. These were the results from last week. Couple of shutouts with Sinister Creations and Storm Lab. Well, Sinister Creations winning, Storm Lab losing pretty conclusively. A big upset in the C team, which was one of the top 2 or 3 ranked teams, losing out to the Moscow Mantines, which were towards the bottom of the standings. So that was pretty cool. We did have some judges' decisions. Those are on screen here. They were officially the closest judges' decisions we've had all season because most of them have been in the 30s to teens, and this one we had 2 where both robots scored in the 20s. In fact, White Hot versus Overseer were separated by 4 points. Pretty close decision. And official standings. Robot Rampage time. Yes, it is, Daniel. Official standings sees Hive and the Rebels at the top of Division 1 and Sinister and Smash at the top of Division 2. We'll see how they stay there. Like I said, after this week is really going to determine kind of the strengths and weaknesses of everybody and where they're actually going to rank up. So let's get the game started and get some Robot Rampage going. Koei Systems, been watching the channel for a long time, relatively new UK Roboteer. Welcome, Koei Systems, to the stream. Always glad to see actual robot builders watching my videos. That's very nice. So up first, we always start off with Storm Lab because of the way the schedule generator generated everything. So we get Firestarter once again. They're facing team number 5, which is the Indiana Robotics Alliance. So, horizontal, overhead, asymmetric bar spinner, and horizontal kind of undercuttery spinner with X Factor. So who do you think is going to win this one? Leave your predictions in the chat while I write the stuff down in my notes. Wacky physics is a given on Robot Arena 2. Yes, Robot Arena 2's physics are special needs. Battle of the horizontal spinners. What happens if the judges' scores are tied? So, if the judges' scores are tied, it can be a tie. If the judges' scores are tied, officially what determines the winner of the fight is the robot that triggers the most crowd noise during the fight. We treat that as a crowd vote. That is the way that we will determine tie breaks. If we can't determine through that, then I actually make my own scores, and we use my scores as a tiebreaker. Most of the time, we don't need to worry about judges' decisions, though. So let's get this one here. A lot of pretty split between X Factor and Firestarter, with Firestarter's getting some damage in on that weapon motor right away. But it's already lost its only damaging weapon on its spinner. So now X Factor just carving up Firestarter's chassis, and that is a 19-second KO for X Factor. Very impressive. Neither of these robots are in the top 5 ranked lightweights, so very nice win for X Factor there. Up next, it is the Iron Curtain, which is just a huge amount of armor panels and a piston spike that shoots between them, and then Sludge, which is a very fast rammer. We saw Gizmo, which is a very similar robot to Sludge, throw itself out of the arena off of the Iron Curtain, even though the Iron Curtain is just a vertical wall. And we know Sludge does similar things, so this could be a repeat of last week. Leave your predictions in the chat. Is this its first win? No, I think X Factor's got a couple of wins now. Sludge going to pull a Sludge. Yes, it's going to be a Sludge fest here. But people are predicting for Sludge. Iron Curtain, another ring out victory. Man, that would be impressive if Iron Curtain of all robots could get a bunch of ring outs. Hey Mike, I wonder if I can draw the robots from Robot Rampage League. You can draw them if you want. Yeah, some fan art for the league would be awesome. We have a Robot Rampage Twitter account, @RobotRampage. We would definitely share them on there if you do some fan art of the robots here. Sludge going to start off with a big shot, and then it's going to fall over immediately because that's how Robot Arena 2 physics work. It looks like Iron Curtain's getting that piston spike in there. Not hitting Sludge's chassis so much as it's hitting the weapons on the front of Sludge. Its armor's holding up pretty good to Sludge so far, but it's getting pushed into the grinder, which is a bad thing. Sludge is not having a good time. It's just parked itself on the arena wall. Iron Curtain's lost its piston spike. It just has the piston left. And now Sludge able to get down finally. Oh, it knocked Iron Curtain straight onto its back. That was a good attack from Sludge. Now it just needs to avoid throwing itself over the wall like Gizmo did. There we go. Sludge is going to get a TKO win, finally. How about that? Hey, Jim Jamatic, welcome. You just saw Sludge's first win of the season. 71 seconds, I think? Look at that. All right, so now the match is 3 points to 2 in favor of the Indiana Robotics Alliance at the moment. Stormlab's going to hope Microburst can get them the lead here. Longest Sludge fight of the year so far. I think Sludge spent more time in this fight alone than all of its other fights combined, because it has been just throwing itself out of the ring so much. Okay, so next up is Microburst for Stormlab. It's got 6 piston spikes. Second Amendment for the Indiana Robotics Alliance is kind of a spiked wedge-shaped front end to Second Amendment. Let me know your guys' predictions for this one. People leaning towards Second Amendment, Second Amendment, Microburst. Microburst has a greater firepower, but it's not invertible, and we've seen the rammers can push robots over. Sludge Redemption Arc, I like it. All right. A lot of people leaning towards the Second Amendment here, so let's see if Microburst has anything to say about that. Oh, hold on. It wasn't the rammer knocking over the Microburst. It was Microburst knocking over the rammer. I wasn't expecting that. So Second Amendment taking a lot of hits from those piston spikes. Not really able to get through... not able to get through Microburst's defenses, but then we just had a physics glitch out there. Robot Arena 2 physics is very unstable. And if we get a glitch like that that affects the fight, we will restart the fight until we no longer get those kind of glitches. Wow, what a shot to the rear of Second Amendment that was. Microburst getting the hits in early. Second Amendment's not really able to push very much because the pistons keep kind of lifting it up into the air. It is knocking some of the spikes off of Microburst's weapon. Ah, there goes another one of those physics problems. We're going to try that one again. Oh, this time Second Amendment does not flip over to start the fight. So, Microburst now basically attacking Second Amendment's weapons rather than its chassis here, and it's losing a bunch of spikes in the process. Second Amendment, though, is not really getting any kind of pushing in. Although it's gotten under Microburst a little bit there. Microburst down to just a single spike. It's got no spikes left, so Microburst has just got these two little ramming spikes in the front left. And otherwise is weaponless. So Second Amendment playing it smart with the strategy and just kind of letting Microburst destroy its weapon on its front end rather than knocking itself over with bad driving. Microburst trying to run away. It's got pushed into the grinder now. Although now Second Amendment at risk of being attacked by the grinder. The corner grinders do a considerable amount of damage to robots, so even pushy, non-damaging robots can take advantage of that. Front end of Microburst is getting caved in. Just about 90 seconds left here. And the ball is squarely in Second Amendment's court here. Oh, it just shoved Microburst into the grinder. Some of Second Amendment spikes are starting to break off now, so Microburst's ramming spikes in the front are helping it out a little bit with its defense. Naked pistons do not do damage. No, they don't. In fact, naked pistons take damage, and when pistons take damage, bad things happen with physics. The only components that really do any damage are things that are specifically coded as a weapon component. Everything else doesn't do damage on its own. So that's a control board hit against Microburst. It's pretty heavily smoking now. Got 20 seconds left in the fight, so Second Amendment has to end this now if it wants the 3 points and not go to a judge's decision. That's a second control board hit. Needs one more. It cannot get that last control board hit, so this is probably going to the judges. And it will go to the judges. So that is a maximum of a single point available for that. A lot of damage points from both of them, but not able to KO the other or get a TKO. So the way that the Robot Rampage League works with its rankings is robots earn 3 points if they destroy the other robot with a control board knockout. They earn 2 points if they immobilize it for a TKO, and 2 points if it's a ring out. They toss the other robot over the walls, but they only get a single point if they win on a judge's decision. So in the long run in this season, getting knockouts is really going to matter, and Second Amendment was not able to do that. It's only going to get a single point out of this, I think. So the match is 4-2 right now if that decision goes to Second Amendment, which I think it will. So Stormlab with Uragano can get a 3-point knockout and win the match overall here. Uragano, a double vertical spinner with a bunch of hammers on it, and Black Widow is kind of a drill weapon. It's a vertically oriented spinner, but it's kind of a face spinner with a drill weapon on the front. Which one do you guys think is going to win in this case? Uragano. Yeah, it's a matter of if Uragano gets the full 3 points, because they need the full 3 points to win the match. They're down by 2 right now, so we'll see if Stormlab can win the match overall here. Big hit right to the side of, or the front chassis of Black Widow there. They're just kind of going weapon on weapon. Black Widow's not scared to get its weapon in play. Some of its side armor is being knocked off by Uragano now. There goes one of its top armor panels, so Uragano's bypassing Black Widow's weapon and just knocking armor off of it. But now it's shedding hammers and going to be horribly unbalanced. Black Widow's got a single spike left on its disc. And Uragano's down to just 2 out of its 6 hammers. And they're just kind of jamming up here. Black Widow's trying to get Uragano into the grinder, but Uragano has some wheel protection there. So now Black Widow's lost its weapon entirely. And it's just kind of a push bot. So it's got to hope to break Uragano's weapon or flip it over or get it into the grinder here, because otherwise Black Widow is just going to get carved up by these remaining hammers. One of the remaining hammers is off, so now there's just a single one left. Oh! Black Widow, you almost had it flipped over. You shouldn't have attacked it there, although it did get the last hammer off now, so now both robots are weaponless, and we've got 90 seconds left. Black Widow smoking heavily, but it's got the pushing power that Uragano does not have. It's got it into the grinder and knocked off some of that wheel protection. He's going to slam it back into the wall again. So it looks like, unless Uragano can pull something out here... Ooh, kind of a neat spin move there. Unless Uragano can pull something out here, it's probably not going to get the 3 points. All Black Widow has to do is push this to the judges, and they'll win the match for Indiana Robotics Alliance. Oh, hold the phone. Uragano doing the pushing now. This is an interesting back and forth weaponless robot match now. This is closer than I thought. Yeah, this is going to be a close judge's decision if it goes to the judges, which I think it's probably going to do, because they're kind of locked into this back and forth push of war. Although Uragano's going to try and get Black Widow into the grinder now. That's probably the only way Uragano can get a KO out of this, but they're not going to get to the grinder. Okay, so that's going to be a second judge's decision. And we don't know how that one's going to go at all. That's actually surprisingly even. Well then. We're not going to know the results of these judges' decisions until later in the week or next week, when our judges have had a chance to watch the stream over and judge all the fights. So we do not know the winner of Indiana Robotics Alliance versus Stormlab, although it's actually, I think it is Indiana Robotics Alliance because Stormlab needed 3 points there to win the match. So Indiana wins the match. It's just a matter of who wins that fight. Saw a bunch of stuff in the chat earlier. Whale Boy with a super chat. Loved your video this morning. Thanks for keeping me informed on the new season. Absolutely. I'm going to have a lot more videos from BattleBots 2020 coming out as the season progresses and as it gets started. I only kind of covered some of the robots, mostly some of the newer robots for this season in this first video. I'm going to have another video coming out later once BattleBots puts all the photos and all the teams up on their website. And then I'll cover all of the robots in this season of BattleBots. I'll do that as well. I'll probably have a predictions video out. We're going to go hardcore into BattleBots 2020 video mode. In the meantime, we have the Orlando Commandos against Heavy Metal Robotics. And Orlando's bringing in Airtime, which is a piston flipper. Pistons work very differently in Robot Arena 2 than they do in real life. They're missing like 2 out of the 3 Newtonian laws of motion. So Airtime struggles to self-right if it flips itself over. Voidwalker is kind of a 360 horizontal spinner with this tri-bar setup. Predictions in the chat, please. Trying to see if any of the robots in this match are in the top 5 of their rankings. Everybody leaning towards Voidwalker. BattleBots 2020, would Rex be considered a walker to get the 100% extra weight? No. BattleBots considers a robot a full walker if every leg is independently operable from every other leg. Oh, big hit there from Voidwalker. But if Airtime can get it upside down, that could be a TKO win. Rex is not a walker by BattleBots definition, so they would not get the full 100% weight bonus, but they do have an option that's basically talk to us and we'll see about some kind of lesser weight bonus. So Rex could still theoretically get a weight bonus if they entered. At the meantime, Airtime's lost its whole weapon and a wheel, and Voidwalker is carving it up. So I don't think Voidwalker is going to be getting very much airtime from this fight. I don't think Airtime's going to get a whole lot of airtime either. In fact, less than 60 seconds of airtime, only 52 seconds. So there we go. Interestingly, Airtime, because it has no damaging weapon components, has only scored 22 points of damage for all the weeks of the season that we've done so far. So it scored more damage by hurting Voidwalker's weapon with its face in this fight than it has for the whole season so far. So that's a quick 3 points to Heavy Metal Robotics. You have a multi-bot for their middleweight entry. Have Heartbreak and Seance. And the Commandos going in with Q. So Orlando has this sit and spin kind of thwackbot style spinner. It's got just a bunch of weapons around the outside and it sits in one place and spins. Nashville's Heavy Metal Robotics has Heartbreak and Seance, which is a multi-bot. It's a piston poker in Heartbreak and a rear hinge flipper in Seance. And they have proven to be pretty difficult for other robots to deal with. Usually they end up focusing on one of the little robots and then the other one attacks from behind and really screws things up. Heartbreak and Seance has not won a lot of fights, but they've caused a lot of problems so far. So they're going to get a win pretty soon, I feel. Q does have a lot of ground clearance to exploit, and they do have a rear hinge flipper in the multi-bot. So let's see what we got. A lot of people going for Q here. Let's see what Q can do. It's going to get tossed into the air right away. So Heartbreak struggling to get some damage in there with its piston, but Seance is disrupting Q's mobility quite a lot, but now Q is just digging up the side of Seance. Neither of the mini-bots have the power to get in there and do anything about it. They're just getting knocked away. In fact, I think Seance is out, and Heartbreak has just straight up lost its weapon, and that's a KO. 32 seconds. Oh, I gotta do math. For this one, 14, 15. Okay, so that match is tied up now, 3-3. Hey, Mike, have you seen Pain Train? I've seen a little bit of Pain Train. I've only really heard it in name, not really seen too much of it. Oh, their other robot is down here. Acuity. Okay. Next up in their heavyweight division, Orlando has Drillosaurus, 3 of these kind of drill spinners. Vacuity is an axe robot with this kind of pontoon chassis shape with a lot of protective features on it. So, Vacuity is pretty decently armored compared to most of the heavyweights in the field. What do you guys predict for this one? Any robots you're particularly excited for in this season of BattleBots? Sporkanok is, I think, my current favorite of the new robots. Lots of people going for Drillosaurus. Actually, surprising number going for Vacuity as well. Let's see what Vacuity can do. Drillosaurus has almost no defensive features at all. So, gonna bring that axe down. It almost got it onto the wheel. Well, the axe has come off. The Vacuity's just gonna swing its little stick. Although it did get under Drillosaurus, it could drive it into the grinder. In fact, it's having no trouble scooping up Drillosaurus. That could be a good strategy for Vacuity here, is to get it into the grinders. Ah, physics, why do you do such things? Gonna have to start that one over. Like to see how the new Chomp does. I am very excited to see how the new Chomp does with a 500-pound walker. Vacuity just missing that wheel once again. And losing the axe once again. Oh, but now Vacuity exposing its wheels. Don't do that. Bad idea. Well, there goes that wheel. And now Vacuity has been parked on top of its own wheel. That is a hilariously humiliating way to immobilize a robot. Drillosaurus is just carving the front end of Vacuity up. Taking off some of these protective components, the spike strips. There goes the other wheel, so now Vacuity is basically TKO'd. It's just a matter of if Drillosaurus will leave it for a TKO or try to get the KO. It is a close match. It's a 3-3 match. They could probably use the points, but I think Drillosaurus is going to go for the guaranteed 2 points here and not risk anything going wrong. All right. So that is a TKO win for Drillosaurus and another 2 points for Orlando. This is only our second match. We've already had 3 robots break 10,000 damage points. Most of the other most of the other weeks, it took a while for robots to get to that point, but... There we go. Okay, so... Final fight of this match. And it's only 5-3, so a 3-point knockout could win the match for either of them. We have Abrin, which is 4 kind of spiked axes, and Aqua Dementia, which is a side-hinged flipper. Abrin has been surprisingly effective lately. Let me know what your predictions are. Aqua Dementia officially is the top-ranked super heavyweight in the whole league right now. Completely undefeated, has the most points out of all the super heavyweights. It's the top bot in the super heavyweight. So let me know your predictions here. Coin toss. A lot of people for Abrin. I'm surprised. It did KO what we thought was the best flipper in the super heavyweight's dysfunctional stepsister. So let's see what Abrin can do here. Aqua Dementia, a little bit different in it being a side hinge flipper. Ooh, a big hit right to the chassis. And Aqua Dementia is just going to tear Abrin up. Abrin did get a 3-hit KO against Blood Eagle before, though. So Aqua Dementia got to be really careful not to get KO'd. It's going to take a TKO win here. This is an interesting strategy here, because that's only worth 2 points, so that ties the match. There's no winner to this match. It is a draw. But I understand Aqua Dementia not wanting to risk taking another hit from Abrin, which got 1,400 points of damage in a single blow. I understand Aqua Dementia not wanting to risk getting KO'd and losing the fight in the match. So yeah, that's a 5-5 tie between Orlando and Nashville, and there is a bonus point awarded for every match that is won, and there's no winner to this match, so there's no bonus point for either of these teams. That could play into things with when the playoffs come at the end of 17 weeks of regular season. Up next, we have the Meta Bot Builders and the Robot Rebels. So this is Green Bay, Wisconsin against Detroit. So this is an interesting fight here to start, because Overclock is the number 5th ranked lightweight right now. And Uglybot, I think, is number 6th ranked, if I remember correctly. Uglybot with a piston poker spike, and Overclock also a piston poker with kind of a wedge-shaped spike. Gonna be interesting to see how this one goes. Mike, how will you cover the matches for BattleBots 2020? Will it be like Robot Wars or giving your thoughts? It's going to be similar to my videos from last year's BattleBots, where I'm just going to kind of talk about each fight and what I experienced and what I thought of the teams and the robots, and the presentation of the show as well. Probably about 15 or 20 minutes. Interestingly, Uglybot goes straight up of Overclock's kind of wedge spikes and flips over. Overclock, I think, is getting the more hits into the chassis. It's a lot more stable, although it's lost half of its spikes now. And Uglybot has lost its whole weapon. So Uglybot is just able to push now. And I think it's got a lot faster drive than Overclock. Oh, but Overclock took a wheel off, so the drive speed doesn't matter anymore. And Overclock's going to corner it against the grinder. Uglybot can't really do much here. It's trying to get out. Overclock's just steadily caving that chassis in with those 2 remaining spikes. Although Uglybot is successfully evading the grinders so far. But now there's smoke pouring out of it, which is alternating between black and white because of image loading issues with the game, because that's how the game works. And that's a KO. So 82 seconds, Overclock gets the KO and remains one of the top-ranked robots in the lightweights. This is a fencing match. Not a bad comparison, actually. The Rebels going in with Dramatic in the middleweights. Meta going in with Creighton. Creighton 4 rear hinged flippers. Dramatic with a vaguely drum-shaped vertical spinner. Creighton is number 2 ranked middleweight, and Dramatic is the number 4 ranked middleweight. So these are 2 of the powerhouses in the middleweight division. Interesting that Overclock is ranked so high. I think it's pretty underwhelming. Yeah, if you sort the stats of all of the middleweight or all of the lightweights by points and then by win-loss record, Overclock is one of the higher ranked lightweights. These 2 are ranked number 2 and number 4, and a lot of people going with Creighton. I'm kind of inclined to agree because Dramatic is not invertible, I don't believe. Ooh, it was a big collision. It did knock Dramatic over, but it's going to carve up Creighton while it is upside down. So that's something that Creighton did not try to avoid, was avoid taking that damage while it was upside. But Dramatic's now stuck on its rear end. Creighton's going to try and get it over the wall and miss. Oh, but now Dramatic is underneath Creighton. So Creighton made the mistake of putting Dramatic back into the fight, and it is going to pay the price now. It is going to take a lot of damage from Dramatic's weapon. So this fight has completely turned on its head. Now they're kind of locked to each other's side. Creighton takes the weapon off of Dramatic. Oh, and then physics gets in the way. That was a good fight, too. Why did we have to do that? So here we go. We try again. This time, Dramatic stays upright until the second flip. Creighton once again going to park directly underneath the weapon while it is spinning. And it is just taking tons of damage from Dramatic. Now they've got to break the count. The TKO count. Creighton has now got Dramatic on top of the grinder, and that is going to do a ton of damage to Dramatic. So now they're both pretty even for chassis damage, I believe. Oh no, Dramatic has lost its whole weapon and it's on control board hits. And Creighton is going to get the KO. 44 seconds in, Creighton manages to get the KO, so it actually sealed it up this time. So, that ties the matchup. Both teams are sitting at 3 points. Meta is going to come in with their double vertical spinner of psychogenic harmfulness. And the Rebels are coming in with their rear-hinged flipper Zika. So, psychogenic harmfulness, not invertible. Zika, no damaging weapon components. So this is going to be interesting to see how this one goes. Or more specifically, it's going to be kind of a race against time for Zika to get Psychogenic over before it gets destroyed. What are your predictions for this one? People going with Psychogenic at the moment. People going with Zika. Let's find out. Might be difficult. Zika's had issues getting under some robots before. It's gotten Psychogenic harmfulness over, but it's going to take damage every time it goes into attack it again. And now it's got its flippers misfired, and it's going to get turned over by Psychogenic harmfulness, who takes one of the flippers and tosses it right out of the arena. Right now they're just kind of locked together. Zika's going to get away. And it got both of the flippers under there, so now it's going to put Psychogenic over by the wall, but it rights itself off the wall. Psychogenic harmfulness able to right itself when pushed into a wall. Oh, and one of the flippers broke off on Psychogenic's rear armor, and now the other one's gone. So Zika is now weaponless against Psychogenic harmfulness, which is actually lower to the ground, apparently, with those two stabilizers in the front. Okay. So Zika trying to push, not really able to do so because it can't get under Psychogenic harmfulness. Looking forward to BattleBots. The field looks different, which makes for different matchups. Yes, that's one of the big pluses for this season of BattleBots is the whole field has been shaken up so much. There's a lot of very different kinds of robots competing this season. It should be really interesting. Zika's flippers are too short. Yeah, they don't have a whole lot of reach, but you make them longer and they don't have enough torque to really lift heavyweights over, so... Although Zika's gotten under a little bit there. Zika's just trying to hold out for a judge's decision at this point and stop Psychogenic from getting 3 points. It's doing a decent job so far, but it's got another 50 seconds to go. Spinners OP, please nerf. I mean, the same could be said for flippers and Robot Wars. Next season, the Soviet Union will be better. The Soviet Union has to still exist to be better, but sure. Oh, one of the side armor pieces for Zika has been knocked off. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference in these last 20 seconds. Oh, but another one got knocked off. So now Zika's just running. They take a little bit of a hit to the chassis, but I think it's going to last to the end here, and we're going to go to the judges once again. A lot of judges' decisions this week already. So once again, we do not officially know who won this fight, and we won't know until next week. Oh, there goes the game crashing, like the game is wont to do. Psychogenic for the judge's decision. I think it is going to win it, but we do have to wait for the official decision. So next up, the super heavyweights. So, Meta comes in with Spearmint, which is this scoop-shaped rammer. A lot of damaging spike strips forming a scoop shape for Spearmint. And Heart Attack, which is also a rammer, but it's got wedges and kind of angled spikes up top. Both of these robots work pretty similarly. They try to get underneath another robot and slam them into stuff. Spearmint, I believe, has 2 ring-out victories from knocking robots over the wall already. Heart Attack has one as well. Who do we predict to win this one? People going for Spearmint for the hat trick to get a 3rd ring out in a row. It could happen. Let's see what Spearmint can do with Heart Attack, or what Heart Attack can do with Spearmint. They both got 6-wheel drive, but Heart Attack is actually invertible, and Spearmint is not. Oh, Heart Attack's got Spearmint on the grinder to start off. So Heart Attack, same number of wheels, but a little bit more pushing power from the looks of things. And now it's gotten stuck on top of Spearmint. Okay, both of the robots are stuck together, and they're both going to get counted out. I think we have to consider that to be a pin, which is not allowed, because Heart Attack did not give Spearmint a chance to get off of the grinder. So we're going to have to restart that one. Let's try it again. Oh, this time Heart Attack's the one lifted up and pushed in the grinder, but it does have that rear plow for protection, and it is under Spearmint, and it's going to push Spearmint around now. Both of these robots weigh about the same, but Heart Attack is much larger in volume and area. Oh, and Spearmint backs into the grinder itself and loses a wheel in the process. But is somehow able to push against Heart Attack equally as well. Now, Heart Attack losing a wedge. That's critical. Heart Attack's lost both of its wedges. It's going to go right up the scoop now. Oh, but it could still attack with those spikes along the top, and it could damage Spearmint's scoop. And it's still winning on the pushing wars, at least. Spearmint not able to drive straight any longer, but does have Heart Attack up against the wall. If it can get Heart Attack over, Heart Attack will lose contact with 4 of those wheels. Only its back wheels will drive, and it'll lose a lot of its drive power. So now Heart Attack losing a lot of its front armor. Spearmint's going to push it all the way into the wall. Heart Attack not really able to figure out how to attack Spearmint here. Oh, it slams into the side of the scoop and almost got it over. So Spearmint struggling to drive in a straight line. Heart Attack losing. Oh, there goes a big scoop from Spearmint. Knocked a wheel off of Heart Attack and almost flipped it over. I say Heart Attack has taken most of the damage here, but it was driving better and more controlled. There goes Spearmint's upper scoop. So now Spearmint doesn't really have the ability to push that well. Once it gets Heart Attack up, Heart Attack can just bounce over the top of it. Heart Attack is taking chassis jam damage, though. And Heart Attack's lost another wheel now. Heart Attack's down to 4 wheels, but they're balanced and it can drive straight now. Ooh, another good scoop from Spearmint, but Heart Attack's able to just kind of bounce away without that upper scoop in place. Well, it looks like we're going to end up going to the judges here. And another judge's decision on a fairly close battle again. The judges are going to get a workout this week. So, Spearmint doing a little bit more damage in that one, but it'll be up to the judges to decide who came out on top. Spearmint's wedge bar looks like an antenna now. Yeah, absolutely. So our next matchup is Kinetic Creatures and Team 16, which is Team Smash. So, Kinetic Creatures has Steel Dragon, which is a saw blade spinner. We classify those different to normal spinners that have teeth on them because those do big chunks of damage at once, and saw blades do steady, low amounts of damage over time. So we classify them differently to other spinners. So Steel Dragon is the 2 saw blade spinners up at the back of its wedge. Bubblegum is a rammer with that kind of same scoop shape with the spikes as Spearmint, except Bubblegum's not invertible. Actually, I don't think either of these are invertible. Don't envy the judges. I agree, Tamabris. All right. Steel Dragon versus Bubblegum. Most people leaning towards Bubblegum for this one. Bubblegum coming out quick and then getting lost, and Steel Dragon trying to get in there with a wedge, but a little bit too slow, and Bubblegum is outmaneuvering it and got it up on the scoop and is going to push it around and into the grinder and flip it over. So now Bubblegum is taking control of this fight. It has done a bunch of damage to the motors, the weapon motors for Steel Dragon. Steel Dragon is just straight up lost. It doesn't know what to do here. Wonder if it's losing traction with one of its wheels while it's trying to drive around and it's just spinning in circles. Ooh, Bubblegum missed that one and went into the grinder itself. Ooh, another big ram there from Bubblegum. A wheel comes off. Oh, but Steel Dragon has turned back over, and it is now a wedge once again. Bubblegum needs to calm its titties. It does. It really does. It's a little bit too high-strung so far. It's got caffeinated Bubblegum. Not able to line up a shot all that well with its oversteering back and forth like that. Almost just threw one of its wheels into Steel Dragon's weapon. Steel Dragon has to break a count here. Bubblegum is going to let it. And no, it got counted out. Steel Dragon could not break the count. I just need the time on that fight, and that one is officially 2 points to Team Smash. $106 seconds. Thank you. Okay, so middleweight time. With Team Smash having the lead, they're going into the middleweights with Planetary Conqueror, a surprisingly effective overhead tri-bar spinner. And Kinetic Creatures has Siege, which is a vertical 4-bar spinner. Siege has been surprisingly effective despite falling over. It's able to self-right on its own. Planetary Conqueror lost the use of its weapon, or was not able to use its weapon against, I think it was a Heartbreak and Seance, a little multi-bot. But it has a lot of drive power and was able to win the fight that way. So Planetary Conqueror comes in with both ramming power and a weapon, and Siege is able to self-right despite being a vertical spinner. Jim Dramatic is going for Siege just because of its craziness. Yeah, I like Siege. I think it has a shot in this one. Let's see how it goes. Ooh, a big shot knocks Siege on its front, but it looks like Planetary Conqueror took most of the damage from that one. In fact, Siege is going to get Planetary Conqueror up on its side and start knocking pieces off of Conqueror's weapon. But Planetary Conqueror doing damage to Siege's weapon motor now, especially when it's on its front. And now Siege has taken off the entirety of Planetary Conqueror's weapon, so now it's going to try and be a ram bot. And Siege is just going to knock it over. So Planetary Conqueror, without all of its wheels on the ground, is just kind of throwing itself around. Siege has gotten it into the grinder and knocked 3 of those wheels off now. And it is going to get a KO victory, I believe. Right there. All right, great win for Siege. Always believing in Siege's craziness. Yes, Siege did a really good job managing that fight, avoiding those big collisions that were tipping it forward, and just concentrating on knocking out Planetary Conqueror's weapon. So now, Kinetic has Surgical Glory in the heavyweights, and Team Smash has Bioshocker. Now, both of these robots are in the top 5 heavyweights. Bioshocker's the number 1 ranked heavyweight. Surgical Glory is the number 5 ranked heavyweight. Bioshocker's a double vertical spinner. Surgical Glory is a sit and spin flail thwackbot. And it's proven to be very, very durable, but it does have that sit and spin AI as a weakness, because the sit and spin AI is dumb. What is your predictions for Bioshocker, Surgical Glory? Bioshocker, gonna sit on the fence. Sitting on fences is bad. Do not sit on fences. It can damage your butt. Sit on benches instead. Or nice comfy office chairs. A couple people going for Bioshocker. Justin Cisneros for Surgical Glory. Let's see who comes out with the win here. Bioshocker does have a lot of protective armor on the sides, but Surgical Glory cannot get out of the way so that it can't get that weapon into play. Actually, I think Surgical Glory's flails are getting into Bioshocker's chassis. Actually, the flails have been taken off. Now it's got these long extenders with spikes on them. Well, no longer with spikes on them. So now it's Surgical Glory being dismantled down to just these sword parts that it uses for wheel guards. But once again, Bioshocker's got to get in there and actually hit Surgical Glory's chassis or the wheels. And it's not able to do so. It's just taking hits from these swords. It's knocking a bunch of them off already. Bioshocker being very patient. Now Surgical Glory going to the other side, but that's where Bioshocker still has the most defensive armor left. Oh, there's a wheel. Bioshocker has completely dismantled Surgical Glory here and shown why it is the number 1 ranked heavyweight, and Surgical Glory is only number 5. And now it is going to go in for... It's completely dismantled it piece by piece by piece, and now it's going for the chassis for the KO. The most systematic destruction of a robot yet. That is nothing if not a statement from Team Smash. $15,000 points of damage to 12,000. Once again, a very, very damaging fight this week. Or a very, very damaging series of fights this week. A lot of robots doing a ton of damage. Well, that was destructive. No kidding. Did you see the amount of debris just strewn around the arena? That was crazy. So now it's going to come down to the super heavyweights, kind of similar in shape and appearance. We've got White Hot for kinetic creatures. It's got the overhead spinning blade. Not that effective. The main weapon is all the defensive features in front, all those spikes, and it's got the swords protecting the sides as well for White Hot. Id, all of the spikes in the front are on pistons. It can reach out and stab things, and Id has been very destructive so far. Who are we predicting for this one? Couple of people for Id. Never seen Surgical Glory taken apart like that. I know, that was really systematic. That was not just a win from Bioshocker. That was making a statement. Especially because I think Bioshocker had a really weak judges decision a couple, either last week or the week before. So yeah, they were making a point with that fight. Everybody going with id for this one. Let's see how it goes. I think id is the higher ranked robot between these two. So id actually going underneath White Hot, stabbing away at all those spikes in the front and stopping White Hot from getting out to attack it. They're inching their way towards the grinder, but White Hot does have wheel protection on that side. Eventually they're going to have to break this and get away from the count out. So there we go. Now they're away. Spikes starting to come off of both robots now. Most of the spikes are coming off of White Hot. In fact, all of the spikes are off of White Hot. Only about 30% of the spikes have come off of id so far. So id is the more destructive robot and just blew through all of those defensive spikes for White Hot. And is just going to town on the chassis. And White Hot doesn't have an answer for it. And that's a KO at 1 minute. $14,000 to $12,000. Jeez. This might be the most destructive in terms of damage points week of the league yet. Lots of damage points yet again. Yeah, no kidding. Okay. So that is a conclusive win for Team Smash. 8-3 over Kinetic Creatures. Next we've got Eeveeon taking on HIVE Academy. So Eeveeon's lightweight is Kurbnalob, which is a vertical spinner that spins downwards. It traps the opponent against its wedge. Jinx is a side-hinged flipper, and Kurbnalob is not invertible. Good to have a quick KO before the glitches begin with all those littered spikes. Yeah, it's often the broken components that cause the physics problems. So we're going to get this next match between Team Eeveeon and HIVE Academy started. Kurbnalob's going to have to stay upright in its fight against Jinx the Flipper, otherwise it's done for here. It's somehow managed to do a 360 in the air and stay upright. Jinx is attacking its weapon, but not fully getting underneath it. Oh, now Jinx is going for the weapon motor itself. So there we go. Kurbnalob upside down. Now, it can still do damage like this if Jinx keeps attacking it. So Jinx is going to have to let it go and take 2 points, because I don't think Jinx is going to come out okay if it tries to get 3. Although it could just push Kurbnalob into the grinder. Got Kurbnalob back upright again, which is not what Jinx wants, and Jinx is down to just one flipping arm left. Kurbnalob has lost one of its wheels now, and I think Jinx is pinning it into the grinder, so I don't think this TKO is going to count here, because Jinx is not letting it get away. So that's going to have to be a restart. And this time, Jinx does knock Kurbnalob over right away. And it's going to push it over to the wall and vaguely near the grinder. Kurbnalob not really able to do much, but able to at least steer itself away from the grinders. So now Jinx has Kurbnalob into the grinder with its weapon. And gotten it upright. Kurbnalob really just kind of flailing here. Although Jinx is kind of misfired and now on top of the side of Kurbnalob. And now they're going to do the Robot Arena 2 spin. Nice. Jinx ya dingus. Yeah, jinx ya dingus indeed. That is exactly what's happening here. Well, how's everybody doing? Who is excited for BattleBots 2020? Ballet of Doom. Ballet of Yawn. Looking forward to seeing a modern Hazard. Well, it's a 2005 Hazard. Heavyweight Hazard in Perfect Phoenix. It's basically an older robot that has just been, like, given some minor upgrades for BattleBots this year. This got boring. Yes, it did. We're going to have a lot of judges' decisions to go through, and I think the judges are not going to have a fun time of it. Even the crowd effects in the game are booing. Sad that Duck is not in BattleBots. Yeah, Duck was one of the many robots the team chose not to compete because of the risk of COVID. BattleBots did a very good job of keeping everybody safe from COVID. There were no incidents from COVID amongst any of the teams, but a lot of teams did elect not to risk it. Jinx has gotten Corbnalob into the grinder to lose a wheel and is now tossing it to kind of the middle of the arena over here. I don't think it's going to be able to end the fight before the judges are called into play here, but it has taken another wheel off of Corbnalob. So that's going to be pretty conclusive in the judges' decision, I feel. And it's going to get into the grinder for good measure. All right. Another judge's decision. Good job, everybody, for making it through that fight. Okay, now this is a little bit embarrassing, but I need to go use the bathroom real quick. I will be right back. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Man, how do professional streamers do this? Do they just, like, have a bedpan or something? Already up to 5 judges' decisions, I'm assuming? Yeah. Turn to the scene of the crime. Okay, let's carry on with where we were. We were in the middle of Eeveeon versus HIVE. Eeveeon in the middleweights with Spinning Cage of Death. HIVE with Gizmo. So, Spinning Cage of Death, the 360-degree kind of mace spinner, and Gizmo is a rammer with a bunch of spikes on the front that likes to fall over and throw itself out of the ring. So, let me know your predictions for this one, and we will see who wins it. Gizmo. I think Gizmo's got a good shot because Spinning Cage of Death is not invertible. Let's see what happens. Oh, Spinning Cage of Death just immediately spun around and exposed its rear to Gizmo. That was weird. A huge shot from Gizmo there to knock Spinning Cage of Death over. It's going to right itself. Oh, it knocked a wheel off of Gizmo. So now Gizmo can't drive in a straight line. And now Spinning Cage of Death is on the attack. Another big shot to the wheels. Gizmo's making sure to get those spikes into Spinning Cage of Death's weapon rather than taking the shots to its chassis, which is a good strategy. It's knocked one of the maces off of Spinning Cage of Death. Now another wheel's come off. Oh, Spinning Cage of Death is now on control board hits. So Gizmo's doing a lot of damage with those initial rams. And now that it's balanced again, it can get some more big rams into play. Oh, there it is, the kill shot. 68 seconds. It's a lot harder than Gizmo was hoping, but it got the KO. Such is the life of a rammer. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, heavyweight time. We have Mammoth for HIVE Academy, which is 2 kind of side hinge war pick style axes and 2 overhead war pick axes. Spike 6 has 2 front hinged flippers, and obviously is a wedge, so it should theoretically have the ground clearance advantage here against Mammoth, and I don't think Mammoth can self-right. Mammoth, however, is the number 3rd ranked heavyweight. So, Spike 6 I don't think has won any fights yet. So they're kind of desperate for some points here, and they're hoping to get a good tight matchup. But I don't know if tight matchup alone is going to be enough for Spike 6 against Mammoth here. What are the predictions that we have? Spike 6 has had a bad run so far. Yeah, it really has. Chassis wedge flippers tend not to do so well. But Spike 6 in particular has had a really tough time of it. Couple going for Spike 6. Couple for Mammoth. Let's see if Spike 6 can turn Mammoth over and win its first fight of the season. Well, Mammoth has collided with it and done a ton of damage at first. It's lost one of the axes and its front protective armor to Spike 6's flippers. And Spike 6 is like getting the weapons into play right where the axes can't get it. And it's got Mammoth against the grinder. It's lost one spike. It's lost all of its flippers. Now Spike 6 with no flipping arms left. Mammoth is still not upside down, but it has lost a wheel to the grinder. And now Mammoth is not moving. The Spike 6 hoping to utilize this grinder to get Mammoth out. Has to break a count out now, which I think it's going to do. Man, it's just spinning in place because it's got no other means of mobility. Somebody's against the grinder, and I'm not sure who it is at the moment. I think this is a pin. Yeah. Spike 6 held him in place, so that's a restart. Well, let's try that again. Mammoth getting a good blow in. Spike 6 attacking the front of Mammoth rather than the underside. Both of its flipping arms have come off already. So Mammoth getting the attacks in really early and really often. And making them count, more importantly. Spike 6 is reduced to just a wedge. Neither of these robots really are able to figure out what the fuck they're trying to do. Mammoth exposing its rear wheels and then just like occasionally shutting down. Spike 6 is just like struggling to move at all. So that was, I think, Mammoth's front armor coming off, but there's the kill shot. So that is a KO in 53 seconds for Mammoth. Not as clean or as straightforward as they would have liked, but they pulled out the win there. Something seems off with Mammoth's AI. It's something with the Axe AI in stock Robot Arena 2, is it just occasionally just stops working and then starts working again. And it happens to all of the Axe robots that you AI, and we don't know why. I've been trying to figure it out. So, super heavyweight time. We have Blood Eagle for Team Eeveeon and HIVE for HIVE Academy. So Blood Eagle is this huge battering ram made out of axe heads. HIVE is these double piston pokers with the spikes, and HIVE is the second highest ranked super heavyweight. Blood Eagle's the 5th highest ranked, so they're both pretty good. Blood Eagle's got the higher defenses here, but it has almost no defenses, as Abrin showed not that long ago. So who do we think is going to win this matchup? Spike 6 must be kicking itself right now. Spike 6 would kick itself if it hadn't just gotten the shit kicked out of it already. Kind of split on this one. HIVE has been unstoppable, but Blood Eagle has good defenses. It's true. We'll see which one is able to outwit the other here. Blood Eagle, well, that was a physics thing and a half. I'm going to restart that one, even though it didn't affect much, just because we didn't use up any fight time. Blood Eagle needs to avoid losing its wheels, because its drive power is its greatest advantage here. And it's already taking spikes off of HIVE's weapon system. And it's pushing HIVE back into the wall, along with all of the stuff that's been broken off. The top 2 spikes, I think, are doing damage to the top of Blood Eagle, just kind of skimming over the top of it. That could be crucial, because HIVE has a lot of defenses up front as well, those armor plates. That could be enough to keep Blood Eagle at bay until the spikes up top do their damage. They've lost one of the armor plates to the grinder. Oh, Blood Eagle got into the side, but not able to take advantage. Blood Eagle looking really beat up top there now. HIVE is just... what the flying fuck did you just do, HIVE? Well, that is a physics problem with pistons. Specifically, the way pistons retract, it causes that physics issue there. So, that's a restart. HIVE's already lost a spike on the initial collision, which does not bode well for their weapon power here. And they've once again just got those 2 top spikes remaining. Blood Eagle is struggling with the debris in the arena, is kind of tripping over it, but it is taking those glancing blows to the top of its chassis again. trying to ram through those armor plates on the front of Hive and is not managing it. And they're taking a beating from that those pistons up top. Something broke. I think that was one of the armor panels came off the front of Hive. So Hive is taking damage to its defenses here. And now everything's been flipped over. Funniest glitch yet. Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Hive, once again, shedding spikes. Blood Eagle not being as aggressive as it had been in previous runs. Oh, there's a big hit. And another. It's broken one of the top spikes off. So Hive is down to one spike, and it's lost its right rear wheel now against the grinder, and it's lost some armor up front. So Blood Eagle hitting harder than it has previously. And we've just gone to an alternate dimension again. Hive really does not like losing... I think it might be losing those front pistons is what might be causing these glitches. It loses one of the front pistons and then just goes haywire. Which is why exposed components do not do so well in Robot Arena 2. You lose a motor or a piston and physics gets very angry about it. So Hive is once again doing damage to the top of Blood Eagle, who's trying to shepherd them into the grinder. Not done so much damage with their own battering ram as previous runs of this fight. But they are doing a lot of damage to that right rear corner with the grinder. They've gotten the rear armor panel off. They've gotten one of the front armor panels off. So now Blood Eagle able to get in and hit the chassis of Hive in that right front corner. But Hive is just pounding away at the top of Blood Eagle and caving it in. And Hive once again shoved into the grinders. It's lost all but one of those protective armor panels. Blood Eagle is really slowing down here. It kind of struggles for battery power as it is, but with its motors taking damage from all those piston shots, Blood Eagle is really slow here. I don't think it's going to be able to get those KO shots that they really want. Hive just a single piston spike remaining. Just for fun, we need a total glitch count every week. The glitches come in the highlight videos every week. So if you like the glitches, if you like those physics bombs, then definitely tune in for the highlight videos every week. So there's a minute remaining, and Blood Eagle is very slow now. Hive is just kind of steadily working away at the top of Blood Eagle, but it's taking chassis damage now. Oh, it's lost its remaining spike. So all of the spikes, all of the weapon have come off of Hive, and they have the drive power now. They've been conserving their batteries. They've not taken a lot of hits to their chassis, but Blood Eagle still has the traction advantage. There's 35 seconds left in this fight, and now Hive is smoking heavily. Can either of them, can Blood Eagle in particular, get this fight over before it goes to the judges? He's got 20 seconds to get 2 more control board hits. There's another 14 seconds to go before the judges are called in. Five seconds left. One last hit. And it is going to go to the judges. Both robots unable to disable the other one. So Blood Eagle was... that was Eeveeon's last chance to get some points in this match, and they might only get a single point out of that. So Eeveeon not going to be very happy with their best robot only settling for a single point in a judge's decision. Welcome, Lilla. First fight after I start watching it. It's a very good one. It was pretty close. We've had some dull fights. We've had a lot of judges' decisions. I think that's 6 judges' decisions now. But we've had a lot of very damaging fights. Lots of robots over 10,000 points of damage. We're going to move on to our next match. We still have 4 matches remaining. 4 matches remaining. This is the Moscow Mantines against Pink Chaos from Brighton, England. I think Brighton's in England, from the UK. 2 foreign teams fighting each other. So the Mantines bring Hailstorm 4, a front hinge flipper, and Pink Chaos brings Unprettier, which is kind of this crusher-shaped axe overhead spiky weapon thing. Unprettier, I thought could not self-right, but it was able to self-right twice last week, to my complete and total surprise. So it's not necessarily a straight-up TKO if Hailstorm gets it over. But Hailstorm could take an absolute control of the fight if they do flip Unprettier over, because it really struggles. What do we think for Hailstorm versus Unprettier? Burnout says pink. I say blue. Get the Mouser Mecha Catbot song stuck in your head. Lots of people thinking Pink Chaos for this one. Unprettier and a couple going for Hailstorm. Let's see how it goes. Moscow upset the C team, one of the top ranked teams last week. Let's see if they can do it again with Pink Chaos. Oh, but Unprettier's gotten underneath Hailstorm and is just digging up its front wedge. It is just absolutely destroying Hailstorm's front wedge. Wow, look at the state of Hailstorm right now. Unprettier is struggling to get free from the wall. Hailstorm struggling with that damage that its motors have taken. It's underneath Unprettier now. If it gets Unprettier over or takes a wheel off, it can take absolute control of this fight, but it's really struggling with that early attack from Unprettier. It is doing damage with that front hinge flipper, and it's keeping Unprettier from getting off of the wedge, which is important. Razor versus Firestorm. I mean, it was looking that way. The only difference is Unprettier didn't pick it up with the beak. There goes that wheel. So now Unprettier is missing a wheel on that side now. Hailstorm controlling the fight, doing steady damage. There's smoke pouring out of both the robots now. This is a very slow but meticulous attack from Hailstorm here. Unprettier is only able to just kind of turn them in circles, so it can stop them from pushing them into the grinder, but can't do much else. Hailstorm definitely in control of the fight. I might argue that they're both pretty equal on damage. Actually, maybe Unprettier is losing out on damage here because they've lost their wheel. They've lost a lot of their ability to drive as a result of Hailstorm doing damage to them. And now Hailstorm directly underneath. There's control board hits. There's a second one. Can Hailstorm get another attack in here? No, it's going to pin Unprettier. Don't do that. What's wrong with you, Hailstorm? You could have won this fight. That's unfortunate. We're going to have to restart because of a pin. That was a slow but really interesting fight, and we're going to have to restart it. Oh, but Hailstorm gets straight under Unprettier this time. Like I said, Unprettier really struggles to self-right. It can, apparently. I was surprised by that, but it can self-right. Hailstorm's going to push it into the wall in a way it cannot self-right. Clever strategy by Hailstorm to Stop Unprettier from righting itself. It's going to knock off a wheel with the grinder. And then Physics is going to get angry with everyone. Well, Burnout, you're not going to have a problem finding physics glitches for the highlight video this time. Oh, so the first run, Unprettier got under Hailstorm. The second run, Hailstorm got under Unprettier. And the third run, they stalemate with their wedges. But Unprettier blinks first, and Hailstorm's going to get underneath this time. And there's that flipper getting Unprettier on its back. Hailstorm's going to push it against the wall so that it can just... Whoa, that was an interesting physics glitch. Do we restart because of that? We might need to. Hailstorm's still got Unprettier on its back. Just attacking the underside of Unprettier like that. And now going for that side like it was early on. There's another control board hit. Oh, it's flipped itself over. Which one will self-right first? Well, this is embarrassing. Firestorm doesn't have the reach to right itself. Glitch? Yeah, I think that might have been a glitch that turned Hailstorm over. We might have to restart this one. And now for the turtle channel. Yeah. Well, I think we might have to restart that one because it was a physics glitch that turned both of them over at the end there. And now a physics glitch has put Hailstorm back upright. What do you think, Burnout? Do we restart that one? Yes, I agree. Okay. There we go. So Hailstorm has such a short flipper arc that it is prone to glitching out and throwing itself on its back. Interesting. Played enough RA2 to know that's abnormal. The way everybody else plays RA2, that is normal. I think Hailstorm just did it again. Unprettier self-righted, like I did not think it could do, but it apparently can. Well then, Hailstorm, you've been kind to us up until now, and suddenly you are all glitchy. There goes Unprettier getting underneath Hailstorm and doing the damage. Hailstorm's going to put Unprettier into the grinder. So now Unprettier's lost a wheel, but it's doing a ton of damage to Hailstorm. Hailstorm holding Unprettier in place and not letting it get away. And now it's underneath, and it's got Unprettier against the grinder. So Hailstorm's taken a ton of damage and is smoking heavily, but Unprettier's lost a wheel and a wedge, and taken a lot of damage as well. Hailstorm's going to impede it, so it cannot break this pin. And I think that's going to be a pin restart. Yes, it is. How many restarts are we on now? Crash patch for stock when? Supposedly there were a lot of crash patches for stock, and it only made stock equally as crashy, except in different ways. And there goes Hailstorm doing a backflip once again. Actually, I'm going to leave it for the time being because they're basically stalemated. Oh, Unprettier just knocked itself over. How did it do that? Yeah, I'm going to have to restart that one because they both did dumb stuff. What the fuck? Stalemate. These two bots don't like each other very much. I agree. I hope Captain Mantine, the captain of the Mantines, is enjoying this because it's entertaining as hell. There's Hailstorm knocking itself over again. Do we cap this at 10 restarts? Yes, we do. Ten restarts is our maximum. And there's Hailstorm knocking itself over again. Wonder if this is the toilet break coming back to haunt me. It might be. This is what I get for, you know, having bodily functions in the real world. BattleBot's 2021 season will have aired by the time this fight is over. You are very right. I think that might happen. Well, Hailstorm's gotten Unprettier upside down and into the grinder. Only for a little bit, though. It's going to attack the top of Unprettier. Ooh, look at the hit there. The damage that it did. Hailstorm pushing Unprettier to the other grinder now. Unprettier going to take a lot of damage from the grinder this time. And Hailstorm just bugged the fuck out. You know what? I'm going to leave it because they both kind of reset to where they were anyway. And I really want this fight to end without having one of them disqualified. I would really prefer not to disqualify one of them. And now Hailstorm has inverted itself again. Well, what do you say, Burnout? One more restart, or is that the last restart? Final restart. Here we go. If this is not it, then both robots lose. Hailstorm under Unprettier. Pushed it into the starting box on the side, and now Hailstorm has thrown itself upside down. Well, I think we don't have a choice. I think we have to disqualify Hailstorm for causing too many physics problems. Now, when we started the Robot Rampage League, we did not have an official policy for what a disqualification would score as. But I think what we discussed is a disqualification counts as 1 point for the winning robot. For the robot that is not disqualified. And I think Hailstorm's going to have to be disqualified here. Burnout says DQ for them both. I mean, Unprettier was not the one causing the majority of the physics problems, so... I'm going to call this a DQ for Hailstorm. That counts as a win for Unprettier, but there are no damage points scored and there's no time scored in the fight. And that is a single point for Pink Chaos. That is how I'm going to rule this one. It is a win for Unprettier, but there's no fight time, there's no damage points, and only a single point is awarded to the team. That's how things go with Robot Arena 2. When you have a 17-year-old game that was released unfinished and buggy as hell, like it just crashed on me. Because it can't even manage its own menus without crashing. Is this the first disqualification? Yes, it is. This is the first time we've had to consider disqualifying a robot. So, middleweight time, we have OMG It's Dollar Store Razor, which is classified as an overhead axe, a kind of a spike axe up top, and a rear hinge flipper down below, which is kind of hidden in the wedge. Overthrown for Pink Chaos is a double front hinged flipper. Who do we think is going to win between OMG It's Dollar Store Razor and Overthrown? Mantine, withdrawing from the competition. You cannot withdraw. You are committed. Join the Minecraft Robotics League. They don't have Havoc glitches. That's because they don't have the Havoc physics engine. People going for Overthrown in this one. Let's see. Razor. OMG, it's Dollar Store Razor. Does not have Dollar Store self-righting wings. So we'll see if Overthrown can park itself on top of Razor and force us to restart because of a pin. Oh no, it backed away. So Overthrown is going to leave Dollar Store Razor for a 2-point TKO. And there it is. Moving on. So the Mantines bring Tougher Than Nails, which is two kind of side hinged axes with 4 sledgehammers on the end. Surprisingly damaging. It KO'd a robot last week simply by getting in the way. Panther is a rammer that's invertible. Both robots are invertible, I believe. So Panther's going to have to get through those sledgehammer side axe things to do anything to Tougher Than Nails, which is Tougher Than Nails. Let's see if it's tougher than a Panther. A big collision to start. Panther's already losing parts. Tougher Than Nails has lost a single sledgehammer piece. It's being pushed around a lot, but Panther's not really able to do much with it. There goes another sledgehammer piece. Tougher Than Nails on the offensive and pushing back against Panther, who just drives over the top of it to get away from being pushed into the grinder. Oh, Tougher Than Nails exposed its backside there. Oh, what a big hit from Panther. Caved in the whole backside of Tougher Than Nails. Tougher Than Nails is trying to do its best to keep those hammers out front. Oh, it did get Panther into the grinder and lopped off its tail, but it has lost another one of those hammerheads. It's going to try and play possum, but Panther didn't bite. That was not supposed to be a pun, by the way, but it was, nonetheless. So, Panther kind of struggling to figure out what to do here against Tougher Than Nails. Just kind of running into TTN and then going over the top of it, and Tougher Than Nails is just letting it because it's able to get those weapons into play every time it does. Ooh, it got a shot on the side on the wheels for Panther. Panther knocking more pieces off of Tougher Than Nails. And driving right over the top of it again. So most of that left side arm has been taken off. The last of the sledgehammer heads have been taken off. But there's 60 seconds left in the fight, and oh, what a huge hit from Panther to push Tougher Than Nails up onto the grinder, and now Panther's attacking the grinder. It's been spit out. I'm going to leave that alone because it didn't affect what was happening to Tougher Than Nails, who's been KO'd. I'm not going to restart that one because it didn't affect the outcome of the fight, really. Well, that was a heck of a ramming hit. I just need the time on that fight. That was fine, Burnout says. Yes. Highlight. Yeah, that was a good attack from Panther there. I was quite impressed with that. Panther's been pretty underwhelming up until now. 134 seconds, he says. All right, so up next is the super heavyweights. We have Falcon Punch, which is the number 3 ranked super heavyweight. It's undefeated. And Dysfunctional Stepsister, which has 1 win and 3 losses, which is surprising because it won the Patreon show that we did. Won like 18 or 20 fights in a row, and now it's 1 and 3. Or like, I'm not going to restart because Moscow lost. Not true. I restarted their first fight as many times as I could, but that's how it goes. Yeah, that didn't change the outcome of that fight at all. Burnout starting to feel better. Yeah, he's been dealing with COVID-19, so he's feeling better now. Not over it yet, but he's feeling better. So Falcon Punch, the sit and spin, Dysfunctional Stepsister, 10 rear hinged flipping arms. Who do we think is going to win this one? Can we give unpretty or no points? I mean, we can discuss it. So, Dysfunctional Stepsister coming out. Wow! What a toss from Dysfunctional Stepsister. Got Falcon Punch up on the wall, but now Falcon Punch is getting up to speed and is knocking a huge hole into the side of Dysfunctional Stepsister's chassis. Stepsister's done a forward flip on its own. It's taken a control board hit from Falcon Punch, who's not able to get up to speed because Stepsister is stopping it. So Dysfunctional Stepsister at the moment is misfiring all of its flipping arms because of that one fist punching bag, punching glove component that's in its smart zone. So now just Falcon Punch has gotten away and gotten a little bit of a spin and hit Dysfunctional Stepsister's chassis again. Stepsister's gotten it against the wall now, but it cannot get those flipping arms into play. So it's going to have to back off to avoid a pin here. Can Falcon Punch break a TKO count? Yes, it can. Stepsister going to go in and try and lift it again. What the hell is up with Dysfunctional Stepsister? It used to walk through robots with ease. It used to. It used to be so good, and I've not changed it at all. And now it's just taken a 4th knockout, and Falcon Punch is undefeated. There we go. Pink Chaos with a 6-3 win in the match, but the Mantines keep their undefeated streak with their super heavyweight. Slower fight than Falcon is used to. Yeah, that was... Dysfunctional Stepsister did a really good job trying to control the fight and stop Falcon Punch from doing its thing, but it just couldn't hold out forever. May need RAM plates for next time. Yeah, Dysfunctional Stepsister definitely needs some upgrades for next season. So then our next matchup, Sinister Creations, which I think is number 1 in the league right now. Yeah, I think it's Sinister Creations is number 1 overall. And they are facing the Baltimore Kestrels. So, Overheat is one of the top 5 ranked lightweights, and it's facing El Gringo from the Kestrels. So front hinge flipper Overheat. El Gringo is a rammer that's completely invertible. 6-3 Unprettier loss. Unprettier got a point for a DQ, although that might end up being no points for anybody. We'll have to see how that goes. Overheat is the one everybody else is predicting. Let's see how Overheat and El Gringo fight. El Gringo straight up the wedge. And taking a huge hit from Overheat. El Gringo is armored in plastic. It's got the weakest armor in stock Robot Arena 2. Ooh, big shot to El Gringo, but that went right to its weapon, so that's going to damage Overheat's only flipping weapon. And another big shot that flips El Gringo over. El Gringo taking a lot of damage, but the flipping arm is broken off now. And now Overheat reduced to a wedge. El Gringo has taken a ton of damage, though. And it's not been the fastest rammer to begin with. Overheat's going to push it into the grinder. Great strategy from Overheat here without its weapon. But El Gringo is caving that wedge in, doing damage. Another big charge from Overheat, going to try and get it over to the grinder. And it's gotten a wheel off with the grinder, and it's now holding El Gringo there. So El Gringo taking tons of damage from the grinder now. Oh, but Overheat's taking a control board hit from running into El Gringo, and now it's taking another. So Overheat is on the ropes for damage. El Gringo just needs to back away, basically, and not be pushed into the grinder anymore. It can barely drive with just 3 wheels remaining. Overheat remaining aggressive and scooping it up. And that's a KO. 1:05 remaining. El Gringo KOs one of the top-ranked lightweights. Glitches happen too many times. I feel like it'd make more sense to judge it based off of what happened prior. The unfortunate thing is when you restart fights, none of those fights are official. So it's difficult to judge based on unofficial fights. Now, like I said, we started this league with no official disqualification rules, so in theory, after the stream is over, I can run that fight until I get a glitch-free version of that fight and get an official version in. That's still an option. Hailstorm glitched in every fight. It should be disqualified. That's how most Robot Arena 2 tournaments work. Actually, most only give 3 restarts, and then they disqualify. Anyway, Sinister and Kestrels, we have Cycloid versus Drigger. So Cycloid is the number 3 ranked middleweight, and Drigger has been losing a lot. Cycloid has the side-hinged war pick style axes. Drigger's got the kind of tiger claw and a piston style weapon. Who do we think is going to win between Cycloid and Drigger? Cycloid. Yeah, Cycloid's got a good chance here, especially if it gets Drigger's wheels. Let's see what happens. Well, there's a big collision of spikes. But which ones are doing the more damage to the other? Drigger has lost half of its weapon already, and it's being pushed back into the grinder by Cycloid. Cycloid's lost one of its axes. And Drigger's lost a wheel to the grinder now, too. So Cycloid with the superior pushing power. Drigger's got a single spike left. Cycloid... Oh, no, it's not left anymore. It just came off then. Cycloid going to attack that damage side that the Grinder tore into. And going to get the KO with, what is that, 42 seconds. So that is an even match. 3 points to 3 points right now. And that is going to bring us to the heavyweights. Warbird for the Kestrels is one of the top-ranked heavyweights. It's got 3 rear-hinged flipping arms, and it has been very good at scoring TKOs lately. Omnipresence is an invertible sit-and-spin flail thwackbot, and it has been very good at getting around to the side of robots rather than going straight through their weapons. However, Warbird has those big wing-like sets of spikes for armor on the side, so Omnipresence is going to have to get really deep behind it and get those wheels if it wants to disable Warbird. So who do we think is going to win between Omnipresence and Warbird here? Actual best heavyweight here in Omnipresence. I think Omnipresence is the most damaging heavyweight, but in terms of scoring points and wins, it is not. People going with Omnipresence, people going with Warbird. Alright, let's see who comes out on top. Or on bottom, depending on who outwedges the other. So Warbird getting into Omnipresence's chassis and getting it up in the air, but Omnipresence is a big robot and can't get it over. And Omnipresence is going to get some hits on the front of Warbird's chassis with those flails. Actually, it's going right over the top of Warbird's protective armor and straight into the chassis. One of Warbird's flipping arms is off. One of the flails is off. Actually, most of the flails are off now. But Omnipresence still has those long, extended spikes out there. Warbird's struggling with the debris. And then it's been tossed into the air by a physics glitch. So we get to restart that one. So Warbird gets in pretty tight right off the bat, but not able to get to Omnipresence's chassis this time. Omnipresence doing a lot of damage to the front of Warbird. Getting a lot of speed onto those flails with that huge diameter. Warbird's struggling, smoking heavily. It's on control board hits, and it's done. Warbird KO'd in 28 seconds. So there you go, spin to win with Omnipresence. Okay. Super heavyweights now. This is a 3 to 6 match. Sinister's got the lead, so the best that the Kestrels can hope to do is to tie. We've got Rabid Fox, 4 vertical spinners, and Berserker, 4 horizontal spinners. Rabid Fox has spent the overwhelming majority of its time in the arena upside down, but it's gotten a lot of KOs that way. Berserker has been just ripped apart by just about everything that it's faced. It has not been having a good time. So who do we predict to win this one? Burnout is predicting another Havoc Glitch Fest. Berserker to cut Fox's legs or wheels. Yeah, let's see how this one goes. Rabid Fox, it has the vert. That it does. And the vert has been winning fights, even though it's been upside down for most of them. Well, it's done a lot of damage to Berserker's front weapon. It's taken one off. And then it's been yoinked away. I have a feeling this is going to be another fight where somebody gets DQ'd for Havoc glitches. There goes another one of the... Oh, okay. I'm going to let that one slide because neither of them got an advantage from that. But Rabid Fox has gotten a wheel off of Berserker and another weapon, and now they've both been thrown out of the arena. Berserker's weapons have lasted more than 2 hits this time. It's trying to like cycle back and forth between both of the front weapons to distribute the damage evenly over them, and so one just doesn't come off right away, which is a good strategy, but I don't know how well it's going to work out for it. Especially if Rabid Fox gets in at the wheels like that. There goes one of the spinners. There goes the other spinner. And there goes the physics bombs. So, do we think we'll be able to get a glitch-free version of this fight in at all? And Rabid Fox answers that question right away. Slamming his head into the keyboard. Please don't do that. You need your keyboard to survive to the end of the stream. Well, 2 spinners are off. And there goes the Havoc glitch. Berserker stop. Yeah, Berserker is the one that's dropping the weapon components that are causing the glitches. So if anybody's going to be disqualified for this one, it's going to be Berserker. I'm willing to let that one slide because that didn't affect the outcome of the fight. They both basically reset to where they were before, so I'm willing to let that one go. That's a KO in 21 seconds. Rabid Fox is the one who keeps glitching. Rabid Fox is glitching because it's going over the spot on the floor that Berserker's weapon motors dropped off. So Berserker's the one laying the physics mines, and Rabid Fox is the one stepping on them. So there we go. That is a conclusive win for Sinister Creations. 9 points to 3 over the Kestrels. That moves us on to our second to last match, which is Valley View Team 1 and Team 18, which is River City Robotics. Oh, I didn't select any robots. So, 2 of our top-ranked lightweights, Overvolter #1 ranked, Network #2 ranked. So Overvolter is got the Ice Pick Axe. It's gotten a lot of KOs. Network has got the 2 horizontal saw spinners, which it's actually done surprisingly well with. So, who do we think can win, or is going to win, between Overvolter and Network here? What would be a good name for a golf-themed robot? There's a lot of ideas you can come up with for golf-themed robots. I just can't think of any of them because I'm dumb. Everybody leaning towards Overvolter on this one. Overvolter does have more KOs than Network, but Network I think is possibly undefeated. I don't remember. Here we go. Network going to get those saws underneath the backside of Overvolter. I wasn't expecting that one. But the Saw Blade is not able to do any damage in that configuration. He's just going to hold Overvolter for the time being to demonstrate control to judges if that's needed. Then back away. They're going to come in and charge at each other again. But Overvolter again getting that backside exposed to Network. Not doing a very good job. This is definitely not the Overvolter that was getting big KOs that we remember. It's gotten a couple of good shots on those Saw Blade motors. But Network, again, using spinning Saw Blades as a decent wedge to push robots around and get the tail of Overvolter into the grinder now. Just going to hold him there. They're going to have to break the count. This is a methodical fight so far. Mainly Network demonstrating control is what's going on here. Not a whole lot of damage being done. But Network is definitely demonstrating that it has control over what's going on in the fight. Overvolter trying to get that weapon into play. It's not gotten a good hit on any of those spinning motors yet. If it does, it could take one straight off with a single blow, but it's missing quite badly. And Network is just not allowing them to get lined up for a shot, and it just keeps controlling what Overvolter can do. Oh, a big hit to Network's chassis, though. Overvolter getting another hit to the chassis, but once again being driven around the ring by Network, which does not have a wedge. It just has two Saw Blade spinners in the front. Oh, but Overvolter's got it in a spot where it can hit Network's chassis hard. Oh, and it got to the back of Network now. One of the Saw Blade motors comes off, and then it yeeted Overvolter into the wall because that's what happens when you drive over a motor that's been broken off. Tamabris is done with his first drink. Good job. So this time, Overvolter falls over, and Network is going to push it straight over to the wall where it can't self-right. So Overvolter being upside down is a very bad thing for it. Network is going to push it into the grinder for good measure. And I think this is probably where this fight is going to end, because Overvolter is not able to self-right. And that does it. That is a conclusive TKO for Network. I didn't catch the time on that, even though I was looking right at it. Well, that was as straightforward as it comes, I guess, in that second running there. So Network with a convincing TKO over the #1 ranked lightweight. And next we move on to the middleweights. 2 flippers in this one. So we have Galactic Fabrication, a rear-hinged flipper, and Cleansing, which is a front-hinged flipper. But importantly, Cleansing has 1 arm, Galactic Fabrication has 2, and Cleansing's arm is set further back, and it's got these kind of spike wedges in the front. Galactic Fabrication is known for throwing fights that it was winning. The last 2 weeks, it's just straight up been beaten, but Galactic Fabrication's been doing really badly. Cleansing hasn't been doing very well either. It actually was winning a fight against Siege that it threw away too. So this is a battle of the robots that are trying to throw away their fights. Who do we think will win this one? RH2 came out in 2004. I thought it was 2003. It might be 2004. Because I think it was the year after Robot Wars got canceled that it came out, because they realized there was not going to be a market for robot fighting anymore with the shows off of the year, so they just hurried and panicked and released the game. Cleansing. No hope for GFAB. Well, let's see if GFAB can turn it around here against cleansing here. Almost forgot the robot's name. It's gotten cleansing over. Cleansing can self-right. But Galactic Fabrication is going to do a good job at stopping it from getting back into play. I'm going to kind of do the Robot Arena 2 dance here for a second. Ooh, Galactic Fabrication is now up on Cleansing's front wedge now. And having a difficult time getting off. But Cleansing is having a bad time of getting its weapon into play. It's knocked off one of the kind of flipping panels for Galactic Fabrication. So right now this is... Oh, Galactic Fabrication is going to push Cleansing into the grinder and then flip it up on top of it. What an attack from Galactic Fabrication. How is it going to spoil this fight that it is winning this time? It keeps turning Cleansing over and forcing Cleansing to self-right, which it can do, but it's much more difficult with Galactic Fabrication pressing on it. It's going to push its other wheel into the grinder. It's lost both of its wheels now. Galactic Fabrication has basically sealed this fight up. Is it going to throw away another win? It's knocked itself over and self-righted. And it's turned Cleansing on its side. Not that it matters. I think Cleansing is getting counted out, and Galactic Fabrication's technically holding it in place, but there's nothing that Cleansing can do about this. It's disabled, so... This is going to be a TKO victory for Galactic Fabrication, finally. So there we go. It's a redemption story. Galactic Fabrication threw away 2 fights, got destroyed in 2 fights, trying its hardest, and now it's actually managed to win a fight. The comeback is real. Did a rift in time and space just open? Yes, many times. Were you not watching the Mantines Pink Chaos match? Many rifts in space-time were opened. Heavyweights time. So, Valley View going in with Cinnamon, which is that kind of spiked scoop wedge rammer. Not invertible. Jaws of Death, invertible. It's got the 2 spiked clubs that come in from the sides. Who do we think is going to win this one? Jaws of Death not been doing so hot lately. Cinnamon been also throwing away fights by knocking itself over. Where are these teams from? Valley View's the Chicago team. I think River City's Little Rock, Arkansas. So it's kind of a Midwestern matchup here. Looking at Cinnawin. Cinnamon Donuts. Okay. I just had donuts earlier. None of them were cinnamon, though. Let's see what Cinnamon can do against the Jaws of Death. Or will the Jaws of Death eat the cinnamon donuts? Well, Jaws of Death is attacking the wedge. Oh, but now Cinnamon's gotten underneath Jaws. Had to back away, though. So it's getting in there underneath Jaws, scooping it up, but Jaws is just kind of bouncing around because of those spiked clubs. It's knocked the club off of one of them. Still has some spikes. It's knocked both clubs off. And it's going to scoop Jaws of Death over to the wall. Now, Spearmint, the super heavyweight, did a good job of getting out of the arena ring outs like this. Cinnamon has not been able to do that yet. So now Cinnamon backing away to break the pin. Letting Jaws of Death get away. Jaws of Death just shutting down in the side of the arena because that's what that AI does for some reason. Cinnamon, every time it backs away, it's almost knocking itself over. It's almost falling over, but it's going to pin Jaws of Death to the wall once again. Jaws of Death just kind of balancing on its rear spikes. Cinnamon got Jaws scooped up, not able to get a good hold on it and get it into one of the grinders or over a wall yet. So Cinnamon conclusively controlling this fight so far. Somebody's against the grinder. I think it might be Jaws of Death. Yes, Jaws of Death has lost a wheel now. So Cinnamon using the grinders to its advantage. Trying to get those spike strip wedges in. Jaws of Death just trying to last as long as it can to minimize the number of points that Cinnamon can win here. Cinnamon going to push Jaws into the wall. Oh, and trying to attack the other wheel with those spiked wedges. And it got it! Both wheels gone now. So as long as Cinnamon leaves Jaws of Death alone, this is a TKO win. Is it going to try and go for the ring out, or is it going to try and go for the KO? It's backed itself into the grinder and done a lot of damage to its rear end. Good job, Cinnamon. It's got Jaws of Death on the grinder. There's 15 seconds to go, but I think they're going to get the TKO just in time. 10 seconds remaining in the fight. It's an official TKO for Cinnamon. Jaws of Death toothless. Yeah, Jaws of Death has not been doing so well. It did okay in the Patreon show, to our surprise, but that might have been a fluke. Now River City going in with their super heavyweight Overseer. And Valley View brings Chemical X. So Chemical X has 4 side-hinged fire axes. Overseer has a horizontal spinner and a ton of protective defensive work up front. So it's going to take some doing for Chemical X to get in there and get that weapon off. But Overseer's not a hard hitter. It's pretty slow for a horizontal spinner. Who do we predict is going to win this one, chat? Got one going for Chemical X. Donut-themed robots. Could be fun. Might get into BattleBots with a donut-themed robot. Couple Chemical X predictions. Let's see what Chemical X can do against Overseer here, or if Overseer can get its first win. So the Axe has got a big hit on that weapon motor. They're knocking away all the defensive work and the whole weapon at once. So Chemical X with the Axe is at exactly the right height to chop that weapon motor off. Now Overseer basically with none of the defensive work up front remaining. But Chemical X is kind of stuck on those front stabilizers. It's going after the wheel now. And it's gotten the wheel, so Overseer is just coming apart right before our eyes. Chemical X had no threat at all here from Overseer. Chemical X being sporting by double-checking Overseer can still move before attacking it some more because they have a gentleman's agreement. But now that the wheel is off, that's going to be a TKO for Chemical X. Unless physics does that. I mean, it doesn't affect the outcome of the fight. It's a TKO either way, so I'm just going to leave that. I don't see a reason to restart the fight over a fight that was literally over. So, that's a TKO at 136. 136 remaining. Okay. So that conclusively wins the match for Valley View 6-2. Kind of a low-scoring match that time. Only 6 points for the winner. And that brings us to our final match, which is the C team against the Armchair Engineers. The Armchair Engineers at the bottom of the standings. Oh boy, Thwackbot against Thwackbot. Brickface. Sit and spin Thwackbot, kind of an angled weapon. A little bit like T-Rex from BattleBots. Whipwreck. Sit and spin Thwackbot, but it's on a flail. So it gets a little bit more reach and a little bit more speed out of it. Who do we think is going to win the battle of the incredibly overpowered drive for these two sit and spin Thwackbots, because they are way too fast for their own good. Brickface, Whipwreck, no crossing swords. They are going to cross the streams and do some sword fighting here, definitely for sure. Master versus Blade Runner. Yeah, this is pretty similar. This is two horizontal Thwackbots. Brickface is solid, Whipwreck is a flail. And they're both going to attack each other's weapon, but it looks like Whipwreck came out ahead on that one. Both spinning the same direction. Brickface, interestingly, is less stable, but Whipwreck has now lost its spike tip off the end of its flail. So it's just kind of flailing around with an extender. Brickface is trying to be a telegraph pole, I think. This is going to be an interesting fight for the judges, I feel. I don't even know what to make of this. Neither of them can get close enough because their smart zones are set slightly out ahead of them. And so as soon as their smart zones hit each other, they are spinning in place. Brickface kind of got close enough to do something. I think they're both being counted out here. Oh, they both broke the count. Brickface has broken off one of its own spikes on the floor. This is almost just hilarious how inept both of these robots are against each other. You can see why BattleBots doesn't allow unpowered weapons such as this into the modern day, because if they would have to fight each other, then this is the kind of bullshit that would happen. Oh, Brickface got a hit in on Whipwreck. It got another hit and broke the rest of the Whipwreck's weapon off. So now Whipwreck is going into ramming mode, so it no longer has any damaging components left. Brickface has lost part of its weapon against the grinder, and Whipwreck pushed it over the wall. What? That was not expected at all. I was talking about them having overpowered drive systems, and Whipwreck literally just pushed Brickface into the wall hard enough it fell over. Okay. I'm going to need the time on that one, because I wasn't watching the time. But Whipwreck has come back from losing its whole weapon to push Brickface over the wall and get the Armchair Engineers a much-needed 2 points against the C team, which was one of the power teams to start the season. So now, for the middleweights. The middleweights, we have Explicit Equation, the #1 ranked middleweight, against Mini Berserker, which is double horizontal spinner. Explicit Equation has 4 piston spikes. Mini Berserker is literally the super heavyweight Berserker with the rear 2 weapons taken off. And we know how that went this week with the super heavyweight Berserker. So, predictions between Explicit Equation and Mini Berserker. E for me. EE, explicit equation, hardcore winner. Hardcore math, actually. Already at 25 fights with glitches. That's definitely a record. Yeah, and some of those fights had like 25 glitches in them. So let's see how explicit equation does here. It could probably shoot right between Mini Berserker's weapons, but it's not able to get the chassis. It is getting big hits on those weapon motors, though. Mini Berserker trying to go around to the side of explicit equation. Explicit equation losing spikes now. It's lost the lower 2 spikes. It's knocked a weapon motor off of Mini Berserker. So those top 2 spikes, ooh, big hits to the chassis now of Mini Berserker. And now the other weapon motor is gone, and so is explicit equation. And we try again. Can explicit equation get those weapons into Mini Berserker's chassis? It's kind of just at the end of explicit equation's reach. Oh, there we go. Now explicit equation really getting in there. Lost the lower 2 spikes, but the upper 2 are going above the weapons of Mini Berserker. It's going to back away and let Mini Berserker try and break the pin, which it does. Or break the count, I should say. And now explicit equation just demolishing Mini Berserker's weapons. I'm going to let that fight continue because it didn't change the strategic outcome at all. Oh, that's a control board hit. Berserker just kind of flailing with its high-powered drive system and nothing else, and that's a KO. 51 seconds, explicit equation with the 3 points to take the lead in the match. So now it is a 3-2 match with the C team on top. Do we have to go through those glitches again? Yeah. Some physics glitches we allow because they don't affect the way that the fight is progressing. Like if 2 robots run into each other and start to back away and they get physics glitched a little bit and then just run together again, that didn't really affect how the fight was going. But like if a robot gets completely flipped over or gets pushed away from a hazard, that affects how the fight is going and we have to restart it. So we can't totally eliminate the physics problems from the game, so we just kind of have to work with what we got. Ooh, multi-bot time. Armchair Engineers is the other team that has a multi-bot. So the C team going in with Steel Dragon 2000, which has 2 rear-lifting arms on the bottom and 2 from above. It's kind of a grabby, bitey, scissor type of action that Steel Dragon 2000's weapon has. Axis and Allies is a multi-bot. Axis is a front-hinged flipper. Allies is a double vertical spinner. They've been really good at double-teaming robots, getting one in from the front and the other in from behind. So let's see what Axis and Allies can do with Steel Dragon 2000, which is very much concentrated in front with a lot of exposed weapon motors. People going with Axis and Allies in the chat. They have a chance. I think Axis and Allies has a win already. Steel Dragon 2000. Psycho, you hardcore dog. I don't know if hard, dog, or core. I don't know if any of those apply to me. Definitely core does not apply to me. I do not have a core at all. Okay, Steel Dragon 2000 and Axis and Allies. Let's see what happens. So Steel Dragon 2000 going for Axis. Got some damage to the top of Axis, but Axis's wedge is immobilizing Steel Dragon 2000, and that allowed Allies to get in and take a wheel off. So now Steel Dragon 2000 has yeeted Axis into the air, and we get to try that again. Oh, this time Steel Dragon 2000 gets the underhand on Axis, which is able to right itself after getting flipped over, and now it's under Steel Dragon 2000. Allies trying to attack from the rear, but it's being stopped by that armor plating on the rear of Steel Dragon 2000. Axis is almost totally dead. In fact, I think it almost is dead now. So, poor Allies is going to have to fight this fight alone, I think. So, yes, Axis is totally KO'd. Steel Dragon 2000 pushing Allies back to the wall. It's lost one of its overhead weapons now. Allies has lost several of its spikes off of its weapon. In fact, I think it just lost the last one now. No, it still has one left. So Allies is greatly hampered. And now it just lost a whole disc with the remaining spikes. So now Allies has no damaging weapons left. Steel Dragon 2000 has a lot of chassis damage and smoking motors, but it has the upper hand here. Or the lower hand, however you want to look at it. So Steel Dragon gonna push Allies back into the wall. It keeps like pulling itself on top of it, which is only helping Allies. He now has to break the pin. Steel Dragon going to keep pushing it around rather than doing a whole lot of damage with its weapons. Although it does got some control board hits on Allies. It just needs one more, and this will be an official knockout. And there it is. So that is a minute 49, 109 seconds. So the way that our league works is for multibots, you have to KO both of the components of the multibot in order to score a KO win. That's one of the very few positives about a multibot, is that it's harder to KO. But Steel Dragon 2000 managed it. That is a 6-2 match. C team has won the match because the most points that the Armchair Engineers can get in the Super Heavyweights is 3 points. So they can only go up to 5 points maximum here. C team won the match with that. And it's just the Super Heavyweights left to play. C team has Hayajini, and the Armchair Engineers have Smashy McSmashface. So Hayajini is just a rammer with a huge wall of spikes. Smashy McSmashface has 5 hammer arms. It's designed to look like it was built in Robot Arena 1. What are the predictions here? Hayajini to finish this. Yeah, I think Hayajini's got a good chance here, unless it goes up the wedge of Smashy and out of the arenas itself. We've had a number of speedy Rambots ring themselves out that way, so something that Hayajini's going to have to be careful of here. And we've seen Rambots have difficulty with hammers before. In this case, Hayajini's knocked 2 of the hammer arms off. 4 of the hammer arms off. 5 of the hammer arms off. And then thrown itself onto the wall. Okay, Hayajini. Oh, Smashy, why did you get it down? You had the match. Why did you do that? I guess they thought they could probably get him in the grinder for a KO for 3 points, but now Smashy is going to suffer for getting Hayajini back into this match, because Hayajini is going to push them around. Actually, Hayajini is really struggling. It's upside down right now, and it's really struggling for traction. It's not driving very fast at all. I wonder if the placement of those spikes is interfering with its drive. So Hayajini is backing itself into the grinder numerous times. It's doing damage to its own rear wheels. It's actually struggling to drive now. I think all of Hygieni's drive while it's upside down is coming from those rear wheels, which is why it's struggling so much now that those motors are damaged. It's gotten a control board hit on Smashy, so Smashy I don't think is going to make it out of this fight, but if it can get Hygiene to get those motors back in the grinders, Hygiene could be in trouble. Nope, there's the KO shot. Minute 12 left, so that's 48, 108 seconds. So, the C team with another 3-point KO, that's a 9-2 match, but Hygiene showed some major weaknesses in that fight against Smashy McSmashface there. That is going to be concerning going forwards. Do we need to restart since Smashy was stuck on the wall at the start? I don't think it would be necessary to restart that one. Usually we would, but Smashy pretty much always gets stuck. It's like 2 out of every 3 restarts, Smashy gets stuck on the wall like that. So he got down right away as soon as they made contact, so... I just want to see if this fight will actually go without an issue. Because theoretically, we could just keep running this fight until it eventually ends without an issue, but... Tamabris with a $1 or £1 super chat. Thank you, Tamabris. I appreciate it. That super chat money is making it possible for me to keep making these videos because I have not been working since March, and all of the money helps. I'm not doing commentary because I'm 90% sure that the commentary is what was causing the physics problems before. Like, if I just don't talk about it, there's no commentator's curse. Thoughts on Beta making KO stages at this year's BattleBots? I don't know what that means. Do we think Beta could possibly make the KO stages? The top 32 or whatever? Yeah, I think Beta could possibly do it. It's going to depend on its matchups, though. They're going to have to give Beta some favorable matchup. If it only faces Verts, then it's going to get its wedge destroyed. $85 seconds if you want that official. You know, when we started the league, we had no disqualification rules when we started the league, and the original way that we ran it was we run the fight until there's a usable version of the fight, which I didn't want to take 3.5 hours of the stream to do. So I think what we might do is we might give 10 attempts on stream and then try things off stream until we get a usable fight, since we did not start the league with a DQ rule. But I will discuss that with the guys later. Right. So that is the end of this week's Robot Rampage League, and wow, did things go sideways this week. We had more judges' decisions in 1 week than we've ever had. We had more robots breaking 10,000 damage points than we've ever had. We had our first problem with restarts, that we had robots going to 10 plus restarts. We haven't had that yet in the league. We had, I think, one go to like 4 or 5 or 6, but I don't think we've gone anywhere close to 10. So like we're trying to consider cobbling together disqualification rules. Week 1 we had 8 judges' decisions, only 6 this week. Okay, so we were close to the record for judges' decisions. 27 fights with physics glitches, and Hailstorm and Unprettier had, I think, 10 or 11 physics glitch restarts, and then there were a couple of pin restarts as well. So we had a very sideways week this week. Lots of judges' decisions to look forward to. The judges will convene this week and decide who won those. Those will be announced next week. We've had a lot of interesting matchups, a lot of good fights. There were some really good, entertaining fights, especially towards the beginning of the stream. So that is how things went. Thank you everybody who has been here and was in chat and letting me know your thoughts on everything. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the super chats. Those are making it possible for me to keep doing this and keep my bills paid while the pandemic is still going on. So yeah, if you want to keep up with what the Robot Rampage League is doing, we stream every Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time and 7 p.m. British Standard Time, I believe is what that time zones work out to. We have a Robot Rampage Twitter account, @RobotRampage. We post standings and results and statistics there. We also have a Discord server, which is linked in the description, where we have discussion channels. You can talk about the Robot Rampage League. You can show off the robots that you're building for next season on the league. So we've got that stuff for everybody to do in between these streams. So I'm going to go off and discuss with the judges what we're going to do about all this nonsense. And I will see you guys next week for the Robot Rampage League. And I will leave you with next week's fight schedule.